and keep your mic open. And now screen share. And now bigot. Okay, so we did 18 and 19 because they didn't have Rashi's. So we are on 20. Okay, so it helps you if I have my cursor here. You see it all now, Lisa?
I see the English now. I don't see both sides.
Now do you?
Now I do. There we go.
Okay, so you tell me or I'll have to keep asking because I don't know what you see.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, should I read the Hebrew?
Sure.
Okay. Easier said than done. Let's see.
The
Vayidar Yaakov.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Neder lemor im yeh Elohim imadi ushmarani baderech hazeh asher nochi holech v'natan li lechem le'echol uveged lilbosh.
And Jacob uttered a vow saying, if God will be with me and he will guard me on this way upon which I am going, and he will give me bread to eat and a garment to wear. And then it stops.
And then, okay, so im yeh Elohim imadi, im yishmor li havtachot halalu shehivtichtani liot imadi, kamo she'amar li, pasuk tet vav, v'hinei anochi imach. So, yeah, okay, that's the Hebrew, the first Hebrew one.
Right. If God will be with me, if he keeps these promises that he promised me to be with me, as he said to me, and behold, I am with you. Okay.
Right. In other words, why did Rashi want to comment on that? I guess he wants to flesh out what, if God will be with me, what that means. He'll keep promise. He'll keep his promises. Ushmarani, Kamosha Amarli, Pasuk Tedvav, Ushmarticha b'chol asher telech.
And he will guard me, as he said to me, and I will guard you wherever you go. And that does not list, oh, pasuk. Okay, I guess it's the same, it's ibid.
Yeah. And the last one, V'natan li lechem le'echol, Kamo she'amar pasuk Tedvav, Ki lo azveka v'hamavakesh lechem hu karui ne'ezav, Shene'emar Tehillim lamed zayin kaf hey, V'lo ra'iti tzadik ne'ezav v'zaro mavakesh lachem.
And he will give me bread to eat, as he said, for I will not forsake you, for if one must seek bread, he is called forsaken, as it is said in Psalms, I have not seen a righteous man forsaken and his seed seeking bread. And that's Genesis Rabbah. I guess is it, I mean, is it Psalms or Genesis Rabbah or Genesis Rabbah on the Psalm?
The quote is from the Psalms. It's a verse in Psalms. In fact, it's right near the end of Birkat Hamazon. You know.
Okay.
That verse is quoted at the end of Birkat Hamazon, the grace after meals.
Mm-hmm.
And then the remark that a person who must seek bread is called forsaken, that must be from Genesis Rabbah. In other words, what does forsaken mean? It means that he has nothing to eat. He has to go begging for bread.
It means that God is not with them?
Well, you know what? Neza, forsaken, yeah. I mean.
Like, is it like ta'azu, abandoned?
Yeah, Ne'ezav, it's to leave. Lazov is to leave or to forsake, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's not pretty, but okay. Let's go on then.
Okay, next verse, Vashavti v'shalom, El Beit Aviv Haya Adonai li leElohim.
And if I return in peace to my father's house, and the Lord will be my God.
V'shavti kamo she'amar li, pasuk tet zayin, v'hashivoticha el ha'adama.
And if I return, as he said to me, and I will restore you to the land. Return in peace to my father's house.
B'shalom shalem minachet, shelo elmad midarkei Lavan.
Perfect from sin, that I will not learn from the ways of Lavan.
Oh, okay. So shalem, he's parsing out each word. He's interpreting each word. And so when Yaakov says Vishavti Vishalom, first he explains what does it mean Vishavti.
Mm-hmm.
I'll return. Vishalom. Shalem is from the same root as shalom.
Mm-hmm.
They translated it here as perfect, but it's more like whole.
Full or complete.
Whole, yeah. Like
Yeah.
undamaged by sin.
So sin makes you less whole, is what it's saying.
I would guess that's the idea here. Yeah, shalem minachet.
So I
Whole.
mean, but do we actually believe that somebody can be completely perfect from sin?
Well, shelo elmad midarkei Lavan, that I will not learn from the ways of Lavan.
Mm-hmm.
I guess he's not even reached Lavan yet, but maybe the idea is that the reputation of Lavan was not good, and he was maybe in some doubt as to how he might be influenced by this relative that he was going to.
Well, it sounds like, but it's more than that. He's saying, or this is saying, that he's perfect from sin. Like maybe, he wasn't when he was younger, but somehow he's already been perfected. But I mean, what I'm wondering, do we really believe that? I guess, the tzaddikim or even more so the patriarchs were actually perfected from sin, like so holy and so righteous that they're barely human anymore, like kind of like a Catholic saint. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like I thought until you die, you're not really perfected, from sin, not really completely whole. That, you may be like it's a bell-shaped curve, you may be better off, and have learned more, but are you really absolutely, I mean, perfect sounds to me so like God or something.
Well,
I
the
don't know if
more
I'm
it's
getting hung
interesting
up on this,
question.
but
It's a very interesting question, because the kind of more natural way to interpret the word vishalom in that verse, I would guess, would be safely.
right, right.
And may I return safely to my father's house. So the fact that
Without being
Rashi,
marauded by Esau or something.
yeah, or attacked by a wolf or any number of, or fall off a cliff, anything can
Mhm.
happen when you're on the road. And he wants to return safely to his father's house. I mean, that's just the first kind of impression you get from the verse. And now Rashi's saying, no, he was actually praying for he's worried about moral danger, is I think is what is the point of this. Not necessarily that he's perfect, but that he wants to be saved by God from the moral danger. He's not really worried about the physical dangers of travel.
Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. So he's not saying that he's in doesn't have any room for improvement and never sins. He's just praying for God to keep him as complete as possible and as sinless as possible, and so that he will be able to do the right things and merit what God is promising him.
Well, yeah, but you know what? An interesting way of looking at this, you could say even Yaakov maybe is a little bit deceived as far as his own innocence goes. Like he thinks of himself as a very, very innocent person who doesn't sin, right? And he was raised by pretty outstanding parents, and their household was on a pretty high level, except, and and he's worried what it's going to be like in this other family, part of the family that he's heard bad things about, maybe from his mother, I don't know. But he's pretty wily. We've already seen that about him,
Mm-hmm.
so
Well, that again, but that was the past, and he may be have. Well, I think he's going to, learn from the struggles he deals with Lavan rather than be corrupted by Lavan. He's going to, he's going to deal with struggles, but I think he is going to grow more perfect through those struggles. And right now, I think he has the attitude that's pointing that way.
yeah.
And it's the journey where you face yourself to become what you hope to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm satisfied.
Okay, so next one.
But I just get hung up on that word perfect.
No, that's a very perfect question to ask about Yaakov, because he's a complicated character. Let's see.
Okay,
Hashem.
wait a second.
Did I read that yet?
Yeah, you were
No.
just getting a little far away from your speaker or your microphone or something. You're better now.
Okay. V'haya Hashem li laElohim sheyachul shmo alai mitchila ve'ad sof shelo yimtza psul b'zar'i kamo shene'amar pasuk tet vav asher dibarti lach v'havtacha zo הבטיח לאברהם שנאמר שם י"ז ו' להיות לך לאלוהים ולזרעך אחריך.
And the Lord will be my God, that his name will rest upon me from beginning to end, that no disqualification should be found among my seed. As it is written, I will do that which I have spoken concerning you. And this promise he promised to Abraham, as it is said, to be a God to you and to your seed after you. Your seed means that they should be of pure lineage, that no disqualification should be found in him. And that's from Sifrei vaYetei. That's from vaYetei.
Can you move the page up, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
Let's go all the way up.
Well, except I was just going to say something about that part, the very last part there, and the Lord will be my God. The thing I remember learning from Aviva is that Yaakov gives this long list of conditions. If this happens, and if this happens, and if this happens, most people read it to be then switching to the then part of the statement.
Mm-hmm.
Then the Lord will be my God.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not totally clear because the connections in are the same. The.
I think that, like, I understand what you're saying, that you don't want to put conditions on obedience to God, but I think what he's saying are all things that were already givens. So you could look at it as if with a kind of in parentheses, with the understanding that this is the way it is, that there really isn't an if. You know what I'm saying? So if we go back,
Yeah.
if he returns, well, yes, he's going to return. If he returns in peace, yes, he's going to return in peace.
Well,
and if the Lord will be his God, yes.
But even if those are given, couldn't he be having an internal struggle with, if this happens, then he will be my God?
Well, yeah, he could be. But if it's, I guess that's kind of why he's asking for, maybe he's asking for perfection and hasn't reached it, if he, because he's struggling. I guess,
I mean, I don't think those are given. Is it given that he's going to return home, like at this point in the story?
um,
And is it given that he'll return in peace?
yeah,
are-
because it happens in the sense, that like we were talking about yesterday, because it happens, it's given, what, like maybe, he's not, I think that Abraham did not so much struggle with faith. He just kind of, he did like argue a little bit, but he mostly did what God wanted him to do. Isaac, I think, struggled because of the trauma. And I think Jacob struggled because he was Isaac's son. So maybe, there is that internal struggle. Well, but it is going to happen. He
Well,
just
wait,
doesn't.
we know that because we've read the book, but how does Yaakov know that at this point?
But that's a weird thing about a lot of the Torah. The space-time continuum is not the way we know it, So do the patriarchs are they a little bit more in tune, because they have a more direct connection with God? If first of all, God's the only one that is omniscient. But if you're talking about, like, again, the bell-shaped curve, if these three have a more direct relationship with God, and like Moses and a few others, than anybody else, then they're going to have to understand more than we do about the happenings and the future happenings. It on some level, on another level, he's still growing into accepting, his, he doesn't have complete faith right now. He's
Right.
struggling, like Lisa said, I think.
Yeah. Also, it's like when people say, well, if this happens, then I'll believe in God, and if I can get this, then, there is a God. If they'll heal this person, then there could be a God. But I think that he is struggling to unmask, instead of just, bargaining, which is a little bit of it, but to unmask for himself that God is there.
And maybe he wouldn't even make it conditional if part of him didn't think that this was a given, I mean, like some people just who, like, maybe they're complete atheists and then they're in a foxhole and then they say, save me and I'll believe in you,
Right.
But that's not necessarily the case here. He
Yeah.
has already a stronger connection through his,
Well, I wasn't talking about black and white though.
Well, no, I know you weren't. I was just fleshing it out a little bit more.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not trying to contradict you.
Oh, no, I didn't think that either.
Yeah.
What I'm saying also is there are times to be right on the cusp of being able to open up to God completely. And there are still doubts within oneself. So there is that struggle, especially at the end, to come to shalom, complete wholeness with your wanderings, with your wonderings, and with your doubts.
So there's this story about this guy, and he's in a major hurry, like a businessman, but he has to go pick up something at the mall for his wife, and the parking lot is hugely crowded, and he's driving around and he's looking at his watch and he's getting really frustrated, and he's kind of more business oriented than spiritual, but he says, oh God, could you just please give me a parking space, and then I promise I'll start doing right and believing in you, and I'll change my whole life around. And then all of a sudden somebody comes to the car right in front of where he is and gets in, and just, nobody else can get in before him. He's right there. He pulls into the space and he says, never mind, God, I got one. So, but I don't think that's Jacob here. I think Jacob has been getting these signs that are kind of planting these little seeds of trust and faith, and where he won't have to stay as manipulative as he had been in the past. And he's like, he had that dream and he seemed to believe in that dream. And that dream was kind of predictive.
And there are steps to complete trust.
Yeah, there are, for people who are willing to to recognize and see them and deal
Yeah.
with them. It's really a struggle for most of us.
Mm.
But as Sherry Beth said, he does have good parenting. He has good grandparents. He's got a relationship with God. He's got these visions in his dreams. I mean, he's got a lot of stuff going his way already.
But he's still, but at this moment, I think he's scared. He's still, he's
He is. He doesn't have complete
scared.
faith, but he's
Doesn't know
asking for it. He's
what's it.
asking for it. He's,
Yeah.
I think that if you do this, I think that's part of the asking, his way of asking.
Well, also when you're asking, it also implies some doubt.
Right. Right. He's not understanding the full grace that God is giving him.
Mhm.
And it's not, it's not in a vacuum though. It's not just been God giving him. It's him meeting God. It's him meeting the mountain. It's always his having to take part in that. And so he's not just getting just gifts and grace. He's working on himself. He's putting work into it. He started off as just like, hey, it's not fair. Let me grab onto your heel and I'm going to get it. And then, I'm going to deceive my parents and this and that. And he's working on it. And this is a step, and he doesn't know what's coming up, but it's going to be a lot more work, and he's going to handle it with a lot of grace. We know, but maybe part of him knows because he's on that path. He's not as far away as he had been. Judith, you want to add anything to this?
It looks like she's muted. Is she muted?
Oh, definitely. And maybe not there, but
Okay.
just a thought. Oh, should
No,
we go on?
No, she's
Oh,
there.
Yeah. No, I can't really follow. I kind of got stuck on the shalem.
Uh-huh.
And and these are, I don't know the concepts over time. When this was written, this, as a theology, shalem, and shalom, they have the same root. I think in modern Hebrew, shalem means to pay because it's to make whole. It says, well, what will it take to make you whole? And that's considered in terms of money.
Pay? I've not
Yes.
heard that.
Yeah, Shalem is to pay also, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And because in the expression, when you're dealing with injuries, and that eye for an eye doesn't mean you gouge out an eye. What does it take to make you whole?
Well, to me, this fits in perfectly because he will pay his dues with Laban.
I liked what you said about the the time-space continuum not quite applying. And I really would like to understand the if. I think Rabbi Miller had said that, Abraham just fully believed and Jacob was conditional.
It just occurred to me, you really just are putting a lot of stuff clicking for me, Judith. I'm glad I asked you because now I'm looking at the if I return as possibly teshuvah. Not
Yes.
only just returning to a physical place, but that physical place is symbolic of holiness and wholeness. And it's teshuvah. And he's asking God, he's talking about paying his dues. The peace, so this is teshuvah. The peace is, you know, if I can pay my dues and grow through that, and then the Lord will fully be my God. This is perfect. In my mind, I may be looking at this wrong, but Judith, I think you just like, I had no idea about that. And you're just totally clicking things up here for me.
Well, especially in the light of the way he left the house. I mean, his father had reason to be really angry with him. So it's a kind of it's a tall order to return in peace to his father's house.
That's right.
And isn't there a word in there, hashivoticha?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the same root. I focus a lot on roots
Me
in
too.
my Hebrew understanding.
So that's the root is of teshuvah,
Yeah,
lashuv, whatever. Very good. Now, I don't know if that's what Rashi's saying or not, but I mean, when Rabbi talks about, you know, all these Psalms that talk about your enemies and you want to look at them as your internal enemies. I mean, that's what I do with everything in religion is internalize it. You know, it's not, to me, it's not about a piece of land. And I know this is a controversial statement. It's not about, you know, it's all about return. It's about the big concepts, you know, the concepts of return. Let's say, if you can say returning to your land, restoring the land to you. But to me, I look at it as restoring a sense of the wholeness of being with God, you know, and that's what the path is all about. Whether, you know, whether there's a physical component to that, enemy's land, this and that, you know, that's one way of looking at it. I look at things philosophically.
I like that. Thank you, Lauren.
And I have trouble with just looking at it the other way around. A lot of trouble.
Well, and we have to just include everyone's interpretations and beliefs.
Well, certainly I agree with you, because I think that I get a lot of rejection based on my beliefs.
Mhm.
It's not exactly in line with the community powers, but it's what
And
it is.
that's what I believe that Hashem is here teaching within us, the Yud Hey Vav Hey,
Mhm.
everything included, so that we all are included with all of our interpretations, with all of our beliefs as one. So this is why we do these things and we talk about these things, and I get to hear your point of view, Lauren, you know, and not just go by what one person is teaching.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I seek the truth, and I also don't think that my perspective is the only truth. But I sit with myself.
Mhm.
So I have to come to wholeness, shalom, within myself of you know, the things that I'm struggling with, and include everyone in that also, because that is Hashem to me.
Mhm.
And I'm constantly struggling, you know, and believe me, I don't have, you know, perfect past. Well, it was perfect the way it is, but you
Neither does Jacob.
know. Yeah, country music, there I was.
Nothing wrong with that.
Oh no, it was very good to me.
Yeah. Well, I don't know we have time for another one. It's 9:58
8.
in
And
37 seconds.
Lee has just joined us.
Yeah, so I think that I have to stop the screen share first. I forget which. There's an order in which it lets me do it, so we'll see. That, and then the recording, stop. Yes, stop.